Welcome to Empowering Innovators, the YouTube series where we'll talk about innovation the startup way. Today I have with me Bart Leurs, Chief Digital Transformation at the Rabobank. Welcome, Bart.
Thank you very much.
So Bart, tell me, Chief Digital Transformation, you've been in that role now for several years. Was this a new role that was created within the bank, or did you follow up from somebody that had the job before?
No, this is actually a real new job within the board. So the position is new, and I'm responsible for digital and innovation globally for Rabobank.
That's a lot.
It is.
How do you make that happen on a global scale? Do you work from region to region, or is there one overarching strategy to transform?
Now, what you have to understand in looking at the digital strategy of Rabobank is that we are really two franchises. So we are a universal bank in the Netherlands for all, let's say, all clients, all products, and we are really a specialized F&A franchise around the world. So the digital strategy is also really different for the two. Okay. If you would look at the Netherlands, really the strategy digital is bringing the bank into the app, I would say. So everything is gonna go digital.
Yeah.
Internationally, it's very different. Of course, also there we look at digital capabilities for clients and also for bankers. Yeah. But we also really look at the opportunities that we have throughout the food value chain.
Because agri-tech, that whole domain, you have a lot of companies actually that you support in that domain. Yeah. I mean, if you look at that part of innovation and your digital transformation, or maybe even helping your clients, can you explain a little bit what kind of supporting functions that you have towards your clients and how you transform the bank from that angle?
And specifically in food and agri, you mean?
Yeah,
yeah. When you look at the bank internationally, we really have a special position. So we are the biggest food and agri bank around the world, and we bank with all players in the food value chain. And the interesting thing that you see happening also there is you see datafication of the food value chain. We see in all the nodes of the value chain platforms coming up. So those create new opportunities for us also as a bank, because currently what we do, we bank those clients, give them loans, but potentially we can take new positions within the value chain. It could be completely different from what we are doing today. So we're doing actually two things. We look at positions in the value chain that are completely new for us as business models, but we also help the clients that we service now in the value chain in innovating themselves. Right. And here, let's say a very good example, maybe you know Food Bites, which is a pitch and startup event for players in the food value chain, startup scale-ups, that could potentially also bring new innovation in the value chain.
And if you look at, because you're basically talking about the whole beyond banking platform approach, where a bank wants to be the central point for its customers on different means than just financially basically supporting them. Can you give some examples of in which domains you're then looking at specifically to support your clients? Yeah,
if you look at platform banking, again, I have to make the difference between the Netherlands and international, because it is really different. Yeah. If you would look at the Netherlands, I think we have a kind of a natural position to become a platform, or we are actually already a platform. If you look at the app, in the Netherlands we have 2.5 million visits every day in the app. So this creates huge amount of opportunities to do more than banking. Yeah. So beyond banking opens up new opportunities for those 2.5 million visits that we have every day in creating new services and products for the clients. So that is a platform strategy that we have in the Netherlands. Internationally, it is really different, because there we are not a transaction bank, so we don't have this day-to-day interaction.
Right.
But what you do see is that also in the food value chain, you see platforms coming up and businesses being run over platforms. Very simple example, if you look at farmers around the world, we deal with the top farmers in North America, South America, Sydney, Australia, and what those farms, they are so big, sometimes they are the size of province of Utrecht here in the Netherlands. Right. So they also start to run their bank with, or their company with drones, sensors, IoT, so they start to run their farm from the control room. So it's all digital. Right. So that creates new opportunities for us to maybe, in this platform, offer financial services that we could otherwise not do. Or maybe become the platform for those farmers because they trust us as a player in the field. So internationally we would have very different positions.
It's very different, right?
Yeah. And the good thing is, I think what you will see internationally is because the trust in the bank is so big, and although they are very keen in going digital and working on those platforms, they don't tend to have a big trust in the other players in the industry. For example, also John Deere, Monsanto, they will also create those platforms. But of course, it's very clear what their purpose is.
Right. It's a bit different than yours, probably. Right.
So we could potentially play the role of the, let's say, the the trusted party of those platforms.
Yeah, that's at least the goal, to be that.
Yeah, so that's the
yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, and if you look at the different horizon within innovations, where do you make your biggest bet? Is it much on the horizon one in the incremental, or on the business model, or on the potentially disruptive? And there, again, you make the distinction between what happens in the Netherlands and what you do internationally. Talking about the Netherlands first, where do you play? In all three domains, or...?
Yeah, so we play in all three domains because we cannot afford not to do it. But if you would really look at money spent today over the horizons, we follow the playbook. So we do 70-20-10.
Yeah.
So biggest chunk of the investments that we do today and tomorrow is really in digital, bringing the bank into the app, really making the bank a data-driven digital machine.
Yeah.
Then we do spend indeed about 20%, I would say, of the total budget on Horizon 2, and the rest is in Horizon 3. Although we recently expanded budget for Horizon 3, so you probably know we have Rabo Frontier Ventures, investment fund for fin and agtech companies that we recently raised to 150 million, which for us is a pretty sizable investment fund to really take stakes in interesting new players in the food value chain.
So you basically let the fund organize your bigger bets in Horizon 3? Is that how you...
Not only.
No?
So if you would look at the, let's say, the components that we have for innovation, we have a couple of ones. One is Moonshot campaign, internal campaign to generate ideas from within the company. Yeah. They could be all. They could be H2, H3, they could be H1. Yeah. So we'll look at all of them. Then what we do more and more is collaborate with the outside world, so do open innovation. We work a lot also with your organization to try to find new ideas, new partners to do innovation. And indeed, we invest in more and more in scale-ups that could potentially be strategically relevant for us as a company. So we try to play all fields. Yeah. The only area that we're not doing actively yet is big M&A, where you can probably buy innovation like Goldman Sachs has done with Marcus. But also that is still a field that we could potentially enter, because you create speed also in big innovation.
So lots of things have changed, I guess. I mean, you've been in the banking world, financial industry for quite some time. Yeah. Obviously, 12, 15 years ago, the whole FinTech industry started happening. More and more early entrants, startups were entering that phase. You know, do you still remember the more quiet days, or were they never quiet in the financial industry?
Oh yeah, I think FinTech and disruption has really made a big impact on the industry. So, of course, it's still a regulated industry. Of course, there's still protection because of this regulation, and there's a huge amount of trust in the system itself, I think, still. But FinTechs have really brought new innovation in the industry. So I'm a big fan of all the wave of innovation that has come the last, let's say, 10 to 20 years in the financial industry. Because for clients, I think it has only improved solutions, both products and services. So FinTechs were good for the industry, I think. Or innovation is good for the industry. And FinTechs have pushed, I think, innovation. Yeah. We wouldn't have been so far if the FinTech disruption would not have been here, I think, for sure.
Right. And how do you look? I mean, we touched a little bit upon collaboration with startups. Yeah. And Rabobank has been one of the early partners also with all the activities that we have at Startupbootcamp. Yeah. How do you look at that collaboration with early stage companies? Because it's not so easy for a small, still vulnerable company to work with a global company like Rabobank. What do you see working? What do you see that are struggles?
Yeah, so indeed it's not easy to find the right balance in collaboration between startups and a big corporation. Although we do quite a lot of proof of concepts and also real stuff with
commercial integration and
so for example, video conversation now with us in mortgages is with 24 sessions. It's at the time I think we started with them, was really still a startup. So you have to take a certain risk.
You met them here at our program 4.5, 5 years ago. Yeah. And now they're scaling up. Yeah. Also thanks to you, because you're a major client for them, actually, right?
So it does work, but you really need a business owner within the company that absolutely believes in the benefit of working with a startup. Correct. And the absolute belief that they could bring us faster to the goal than if you do it yourself. Yeah. And that is changing, I think, within the organization. We see that more and more of the speed you can generate it with startups. Yeah. But I think it's even more difficult for the startup to work with us than it is for us to work with the startup. Because of course we are a huge organization. For a startup, who do you talk to? Who can help you within the organization? And that's the role I play with my team, to make sure that we do create the right entry of those startups to the right people in the organization, and then start to scale initiatives. But we see the same struggle with our own ventures that we generate from our Moonshot campaign. It is not easy to scale within a corporate organization.
No.
You really have to be the shit umbrella sometimes, or a lot of times.
Yeah.
But so we are very open to new startups and to scale-ups. Although we move more and more to scale-ups, I must say, because the fit is better. And we will keep on, let's say, elaborating with startups to build this stuff.
Right. If you enjoyed the conversation Bart and me just had, please stay tuned. Next week we'll release part 2.